What is up, everybody? It's Mark from 403 Fauna. We'll give Jason a few minutes. He's getting ready, but it's the post recap show of the Anaheim Reptile Show. And, I'm going to go ahead and start with how my week went. And it's been a couple weeks since we've been on. 2 weeks ago, I was at a field trip with the football team here at my high school, so I was unable to make that live. And then last week, just the start of the new school year, and I was heading up to Anaheim with my girlfriend, and I just couldn't make that show. So Jason's here now, so we'll get him going. What is up, Jason? Man, you got the full go-to going on since I last talked to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Radass Designs. Mark sent me the link like 3 minutes ago.
I barely just got out of a meeting here. We had our staff meeting, and I was rushing, and I had to tell my department, I got to leave, guys. I got a show I got to do. And
was this meeting about an emergency possible bomb on campus, and that's why you weren't here?
No, the beginning of the school type stuff.
Just lunches and stuff. I get it.
I've been so busy, just crazy busy, that I haven't even did a PowerPoint this week. So we're just gonna roll with it. And
what is going on, Mark? I'm messing with you. All right. So, how was your week?
Crazy. I know it's been like 2 weeks, so we've got like 2 weeks of our stuff to catch up on, but I've had eggs galore. I'm on clutch number 10 already. I just cut my first clutch yesterday, and by the time I get home, I'm thinking they're gonna all be out. 2 of them were out already, and I was really hosed on the odds. Like, it was my male banana genetic stripe VPI Xanthic. And last year, he gave, out of 14 babies, he gave me 11 bananas. And female maker, and I guess the odds gods are starting to catch up with me, but I got 1 banana out of 6 eggs, so 1.5.
Yeah, that's not even enough for banana bread. Smoothie, nothing. Like maybe ice cream, sundae, banana split, that's it.
Yeah, I was really looking just to hold back a red stripe banana and a male red stripe and just sell the rest, but I think the banana is a red stripe. We'll see when it comes out. And I definitely saw a red stripe male, so I got my 2, but that means the rest my students are going to get freebies. It's the start of the new year, and a lot of students, I've been bringing snakes in, and one of the criteria I have is show me the setup, do your research, and I'll just give you a snake for free. And so usually that whittles down the students who really want one, but then have to do research and show me all their stuff. So I think I'll be able to move those snakes, no problem. But yeah, other than that, we'll talk about the Anaheim stuff. But how about you? How's your week been?
Well, my last 3 weeks, really. Wouldn't that be what it is? Since we missed a couple shows.
Yeah, 3 weeks.
So, we had the Anaheim show, and we had our best ratings on this show the last 2 episodes. And then then Mark got busy. And Mark's going back to the school year, man. That must hurt a little bit to like have this free summertime and then start a relationship and start like eggs are coming through like an assembly line, and then it's like, oh yeah, curriculum time.
It's been crazy.
But it still has been pretty warm and in Southern California, and then of course the Anaheim show. That's pretty quick turnaround from last month's Pomona show. So I don't really agree with that. That's not what I would do, but I'm not gonna pretend like I'm good, experience with promoting and organizing and running a show. Like Rami does a great job, and I just think it's a little close together. I don't understand it. But,
Yeah, I agree.
whatever. The world doesn't always work like I think it should. And I got a hotel this time. So right, not like the one that was more expensive and just like a hop, skip, and a jump to the convention center, or like I could throw like a tennis ball or a baseball at it from there with a good couple bounces, I think. But I got one that was like right down the street, like a block, and that was pretty cool. And had a hot tub and a swimming pool, which I was so busy Friday night and Saturday that I didn't even use those. Um, and I filled the weekend with all sorts of cool stuff. Um, Before that, I was planning on bringing more things to this show, but I didn't. And there were quite a few vendors that I'm used to being there, or at least being at Pomona, that weren't there this year, this summer. And I did drop off a snake to somebody, the auction pastel monarch snake.
Mm.
And then that guy bought a PVC rack from me that I had to like disassemble a little bit to fit in my sedan and scratch the interior a little bit. That was awesome. And then like I brought a drill with me, like a little impact drill, and just when they came to the hotel to pick it up Saturday morning, I just put it back together for him. It just had to take the sides off and squeeze it in. And they were pretty stoked on that. Nice guys. They did a little Instagram video thanking the people that they got snakes from. I think they got one from KG, Bomb Projects, and they got one from me, and I think someone else too. And it seemed like really nice guys. And that was nice to just be able to walk to the show and not have to pay for parking. And yeah, that was pretty cool. And then I haven't been to downtown Los Angeles since like I don't know, the last concert. Went to like a Misfits concert. It was in LA. And then before that, when I was younger and got out of the old LA County Jail at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was just in downtown dark ass like Los Angeles County. It feels like now it's gotten a little bit grimier. It like if Gotham was like a real city, I kind of feel like it wouldn't be New York. It would be like downtown LA. But I've never been to New York, so it's hard for me to say for sure. Yeah, I went on Friday night to a rooftop movie viewing, and they have all these like seats, and they have like a theater thing, and there's like palm trees, and it's like the night air and breeze and stuff. You're out there, and they put on the original Scream. So it's like rooftop movies on the fourth on the fourth floor outside of a hotel, and that was pretty cool. Except 5 or so minutes into the movie, I'm like, well, where's Drew Barrymore? Like, I remember her being in the beginning of Scream, and that's what like that movie got a lot of buzz from. And it was somebody else, and I'm like, what did I like? Is this an additional scene? What this seems like familiar? And they had played like Scream, like a different Scream, I guess by a different director, and I was like, what? We're like, we're sorry, everybody. It's been brought to our attention that we put on the wrong screen. We'll just give us a minute, and we'll put on the other one, the right one, and then it started, and then I got to see Drew Barrymore get killed, and that was cool. But yeah, the show was cool. There was a little bit less traffic than normal. I felt like, but there was a bunch of people. There was a bunch of people there. Missed some vendors, and I usually see like Troy and all the guys there,
Mhm.
and some other people, and then to not see them there, it's like, huh. But there was a flow of some traffic. Sales were down a little bit low, and some people asked me that usually would be at the show, like, "Hey, what was your opinion on how the show went?" And I was like, oh, well, this and this and that. Like, there was actually still a few vendors that weren't very attentive and like on their phone and not greeting you. And I was like, oh, you're not going to sell very much. And that'll happen at every show. And then there was some products, some people that had tables of things that you don't normally see at a reptile show. And that's pretty cool. I mean, now you go to these shows and there's like chocolate and
Mm.
fudge and snacks and different products. There's like this lady had these heat pads that was like liquid inside, and there's a little button, a metal button that's like inside it, and you press it, and then this like chemical reaction happens. I don't know, you would know more about it being a school teacher than me, but like it's so cool looking. It's like spreads, and then the whole liquid inside this these like different shaped bags like gets hot, like 130 degrees. And I'm thinking, what is that? So like if the power goes out, these are for like snakes or something, because that's pretty hot. And she's like, well, you could do that, but it was just neat. Hey, what's up, Phil? Like, yeah, just sometimes every show I go to now, I see something different than what I usually do. And so there was that. It was a pretty cool product. And what else? I see more artwork from people, youngsters and different people. And there wasn't very much of that at this show, in my opinion. But I did buy a piece of artwork from someone who had gone through a lot of transition this year in their life and failed relationship and then some other things that were pretty heavy, and they just poured everything, all their emotions, just everything into their art. And they had like old art pieces, like little tiny canvases and things that they had done stuff on, and then they just threw more stuff on it, like graffiti and different stuff and animal skulls. And it just, I don't know, I saw this piece, I walked by, and it just spoke to me. And it wasn't very expensive, and the artist wasn't there, so I had to come back and come back around and see. In fact, I bought it first from the person's mother, and then came back around, and then I got to meet them and hear what did they really pour into this work of art, and then it just made me like it that much more. That was pretty cool. You know how I like to get little art stuff and like support
Mhm.
art. What else? I wasn't in the market for acquiring stuff. I brought a pixie frog and put it on a friend's table, and they said that they would sell it for me, or if it didn't sell, or maybe even if they decided to, they would just buy it and give me money later. So that frog found a home. That's pretty cool. I used to have pixie frogs that were like this big,
Mhm.
like dinner plate size, and they'd be like like so loud, and the water in their cage would just like vibrate, and you could hear it across the whole house. And I've had different size ones that were pretty big, would eat big meals. And this guy was little, uh, and yeah, I got found him a home, so that was cool. It's been a few days since the show, and since then I moved into a new place in Big Bear. I went from my buddy's pad that had been crashing at this bachelor pad for months and months, and he's been really cool. He's like, "I got your back. You can come to Big Bear." And then, of course, the story. And then I lost my job like 5 weeks later, and somehow I'm like the happiest I've ever been. It was time to not wear out my welcome. He's my good buddy, and my friends wanted me to move in with them, and so I did. And there's three pit bulls on the property, and one I get to share a room with. So cool. And it's a really safe and comfortable and loving environment right nearby from where I have been. And there was that. And then I guess a different thing was that I helped them. They're involved with like not so much religious stuff in the church, but like food donation type stuff for the community. And they'll get like they're involved with like a church program that gets like food from like Vaughn, Stater Brothers, different places and farms and stuff, and then gives it to the needy and the homeless and different people who just want to come and eat. And I volunteered for that. So it was like 9.5 hours of volunteering for the community. So now I get back into that and meet people and help people and socialize, even though I'm not working, because I love, how much I love to talk and meet people. And that was really rewarding. And that was pretty cool. And then I went out on a date with a new person. So we didn't get to talk in the green room. I was going to give you a whole backstory on what's going on with that, but we didn't have a green room today. We can have a pink room or a blue room or any color room. So that's fine, Mark. No CG and graphics and stuff. That's fine. I'm just giving you a hard time. I miss being on the show but yeah, I mean that was just my week, a bit of transition and stuff, um, that's it. Here I am, and get to be in my old spot for today. That's pretty cool. And then since we don't have all the like graphics and stuff, I guess lastly I will say that besides the minor thing of maybe meeting my soulmate, we'll talk about that later. I got my first hatchling of the year.
Ooh, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so I believe it's been 60 days or 59 and a half days. 60 days, I think. So I had 2 eggs. The pastel het clown, supposedly het clown, I don't know for sure. The guy I got it from, I don't know how reliable of a source that was, and he got it from someone else, so he didn't create it. The guy had told him his het clown. I swooped it up for $100. I kind of rescued this snake from a guy that was his life was changing and he was having a baby, and snakes were getting a tiny bit neglected. And I got this still healthy pastel, maybe het clown female. I didn't get her tested. And then I bred her to after bulking her up. That's the one that got really fat. I told you she ate more meals than any snake I've ever fed in one sitting. She at one point, slowly over weeks of feeding her a little bit more, a little bit more. Like the first time I just gave her 1 ASF, and then next time probably like 1 or 2, and then 3, and then boom, 6. She just kept eating them, and yeah, she was so fat. It was crazy. So I bred her to a vanilla pastel pinstripe yellow belly spot nose het clown male. It's a long one. And I got 5 eggs, but 3 of them were not fertile. The 2 that were, I put in an egg box with a bunch of moss, and you had commented at the time about that. And one of them did not hatch, was a little bit mold gold, mold silver, whatever kind of metallic mineral you want to call it. Like it was a little bit moldy. I cut it open, and it was like all kinked up baby, not alive. And so that was a little bit sad. And then this one.
There we go.
So I did not hatch my first clown. I wonder now. We will not know for sure unless I test them on, but like, I don't think that doesn't look like spot nose to me. It does have an interesting a little bit of a pattern, but it's a super pastel, possible vanilla.
Cool pattern on it.
Yeah, it's got some wonky stuff going on. And the other one that was in the egg was a super pastel vanilla yellow belly, but obviously didn't make it. It's a little bit sad. Yeah, but this one's doing pretty good, and it's cute.
Very cute.
Very healthy. And then I'm looking in here. There's 3 other eggs, Mark, and they're really big and plump. And they were, I believe, laid like the week after that. Maybe it was just like 4 days. But I thought that they were a week difference in time. So I'm looking in there, and one of the eggs is picked. So, and then I see a nose coming out a little bit later. So those would be the pastel monarch to the Mojave het monarch. So she laid 3 eggs in a slug, and one of them is hatched. So what I'm going to do in a little bit here is my first egg cutting. So I have a light box, but I decided as I was scrambling around today to not set it up. That would be cooler though, if I like linked up another phone and then just had like egg camera and then did that under the bright lights. But instead what I'm going to do is just cut them and then try to show them with my camera. with the phone. So, yeah, we can, if you want, we can move on with other topics, and then I'll just work on
Okay,
that, and then we'll just come back to it.
that's gonna be so cool. Our first egg cutting on here.
Yeah.
So let me share my experience with Anaheim. So
Yeah.
when I got there, I got there Friday night because I was there with my girlfriend, and we got there really late, like 10:30 or so, and we got our hotel a little bit further away from the convention center than you,
Mm-hmm.
and just stayed the evening in because it was kind of late. And then when I got to the convention center the next morning, it was nice. I usually go Sunday morning, and it was really quickly to get into the parking lot. I remember last time I went to Anaheim, it took me a while to get in there, and there was a long line. But
Mm-hmm.
as we're walking up to the line, I saw outside, and I saw PETA. I didn't know they were PETA at the time, but I saw these two ladies dressed as lizards, and they were holding signs. I couldn't see what it was. I decided, since I'm doing this YouTube video, why not get a little interview going on?
Mm-hmm.
So I went out there. I saw that they're PETA, and I personally, I'm not going to be argumentative with anybody. I thought I'd give them their voice and leave it at that.
Yeah, I
And
mean, they mean well. They don't want animal cruelty. I get that, but sometimes they
yeah,
go overboard.
so I went out there, and they're when I got there, they're a little bit defensive. I guess they're used to being defensive in that manner. And I just gave them their platform, and they spoke what they wanted to say. And honestly, I thought they're really cool guys, other than not wanting us to keep reptiles. But it
Mm-hmm.
was interesting, as I was interviewing them, someone walked by, and I kind of caught it a little bit, and mentioning how they had a dog, and isn't PETA like anti animals? And the guy shouted back, "Hey, these guys were rescued from a kill shelter." And you know,
Mm-hmm.
I know that on the comment for the video, a lot of people mentioned the dogs, and that was brought up. And shortly after that, I don't know whether they got kicked out or whatever, but they just left, and I don't know where they went. So it was just
They,
like,
they gave up, huh?
I think they were in the wrong area, because most everybody was entering through the backside, and they were like on the front, and didn't get much interaction with people. I don't think they got what they were hoping for, and were
Mm-hmm.
perhaps moved to another area. But I didn't hear anything from them since then. But
Yeah.
like you
It,
mentioned, they do have a little bit of well intentioned, because
mm-hmm.
in our hobby there's good and bad. And the Slither Ink was brought up last year, and but there's a lot of good, and I think that we've been doing really well at policing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And but honestly, at the show, I did see some things that could have been better. Like, there was a little tiny mangrove, or that was it was pretty big already, a mangrove monitor in a deli cup, and it was upside down, and it's like scratching, trying to get its way out, and his tail was wrapped around me because he wasn't able to fully stretch. And it just brought my thoughts back to PETA. Like, they do have a bit of a point, and us as reptile keepers, we need to police ourselves better, and we need to do better. Any thoughts
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I did walk by them. I did see a dog. I kind of wanted to go over and like razz them a little bit, or like just get some information, like what's your deal, and then just try to make light of it, because um it's there is exploitation in wildlife in the world. I've seen it in the pet trade when I was in it before, where people are just in it for money, and it taking raping the wild and taking everything from certain places, and actually harming the population of certain species in the world. And then also, we wouldn't have a lot of these creatures if it wasn't for bringing them in. I mean, if you're going to be upset about the pet trade that sometimes does continue to propagate sensitive species, like last couple shows I've been to, and last summer the super shows I went to, there's like Aldabra tortoises and Galapagos tortoises. I never thought, like, in my wildest dreams, like way back in the day, being in the hobby in the late 90s and early 2000s, that I'd see that. I mean, that's the longest lived land animal on our planet, aside from like things that are in the ocean, like whales and lobsters and sharks. They live a pretty long time. But on land, other than some parrots, tortoises are, and koi. But on land, the tortoises are the oldest living creature that we're aware of with our current knowledge, and that's pretty cool to see them. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, pita to me is like, I don't know. Like, I got pita bread over there. I got the farmer's market the other day. I brought over with me, and I got some like sheep yogurt. It's like super good. It's like pumpkin flavor. Like, that's the only pita that I've really concerned myself with. Yeah, I didn't think they were very effective on the side of the show, and I didn't get into it with them to see what their message was. I'm sure it was well intentioned, but yeah, I don't know. There's probably other avenues that they could go in order to protect the exploitation and the health and vitality of certain species of creatures on the planet. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say on that right now, but I am looking at 3 eggs that I just cut from a Mojave that I bought from this guy that was really cool, that I had gotten my first pied from. I bought a female. She's doing really good. I've shown her on here before. She has, like, we think maybe mahogany and leopard and pastel. She's really pretty. It's got a unique pattern and stuff. And I bought later from him before that seller on Morph Market moved to like the middle of the country. He's been working with Monarch for a while. He made a Mojave Monarch and didn't make a GHI one or a GHI Mojave. He missed that. He could have. And he's made some other monarchs, like some het pied and possible het pied and leopard monarchs and some stuff. And he was willing to part with that girl for like what seemed like a super cheap price at the time. And she was proven, and I purchased her for $800. And then I fed her and fed her and fed her last year, and bred that pastel monarch to her after I got him. And it took her a while to lay eggs, a long while. And I would have thought, Mark, from like a proven breeder, like pretty healthy Mojave, that I would have gotten like, maybe like 5 or 6 eggs. I got 3 eggs, nice big healthy ones, and 1 slug. And they have been incubating for definitely less than 60 days. I'll have to double check, but I think it's like 56 days. And yeah, I guess I'll show them here.
Cool. Let's check them out.
Let's see if this works. You talk for.
Okay. So I want to give a little bit more impressions on the reptile show, but it seemed like you mentioned that there was a lot of breeders that didn't make it. And on the plus side is it gave an opportunity for a lot of the small vendors. And I thought that was really cool, just seeing a lot of variety there. And big shout out to Randy from Dark Cloud Reptiles. He hooked me up with Pinstripe VPI Xanthic. That's 66% possible double het for hypo and puzzle. And he told me to test it out. And if it happens to test for the double het, then we'll work out a deal later. So I'll be sending sheds into RDI. And hopefully they do test out both for het, puzzle, and hypo. I'm a little worried because the price tag on that animal would be pretty astronomical, but it was really cool of Randy to let me to do that for me. Let me hold on to it, test it, and we'll work something out later. Also, Jason, we lost you for a second, or did we lose me? I'll just continue. And so also, I want to send a shout out to Los Antilles, the ant vendor, and that just really
Hmm.
surprised me at how cool ants are and how big the queens are. And these were all
Hmm.
caught or raised from local ant colonies. Like whenever you see the ants and they have like the wing forms and they go flying around, they
Hmm.
just catch those and then raise them. And
Hmm.
I thought that was super fascinating and maybe something I would like to get into.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I didn't see those at the show, but when I was 5 years old, my mom got me an ant farm, and then the ants came in like little vials. And I remember taking the ant out of the vial and then to put it into this skinny, narrow, like tall ant farm, and it got on my thumb and it bit me. And I remember it hurting at 5 years old. I was like, what? Yeah, this little guy's not my friend. But insects are fascinating part of wildlife and have their place in the world. And um, yeah, ants are pretty wild. Like a little over a week ago, I got bit by a fire ant in Big Bear in the place I was staying with a comforter on me, watching TV, super comfortable and chill. And a fire ant that had come in through the screen. It had like had a monsoon rains and stuff. So a few ants were able to like get off the ground and search around and try to find shelter and come in through a screen and then make it all the way across a bachelor pad. That's a little bit messy and onto the couch and then onto the comforter and then onto my leg and bite me. So yeah, I have that to say about ants right now. So 3 eggs, Mark. I got what looks like a really cute, bright, normal um, het monarch. And then I got what looks like a pastel that's pretty bright as well. That is het monarch and has some cool blushing on it. And then I got my first ever monarch. I got a monarch in here, and none of the snakes appear to be Mojave, but I'll have to double check that later. It looks like maybe all the eggs are huge, but it looks like a really big baby. Mm,
oh,
that would be really cool if there was twins in there, but I'm not expecting that. But it looks like a big, healthy monarch that I don't believe is pastel, but I'll find out later. So I finally
congrats!
did it.
Huge
Last year
congrats!
my goal was bells. This year my goal was monarchs and achieved both. So not rocket science apparently, which is good because I don't have a doctorate in the science of rockets. So um yeah. Clutch number one and clutch number two have hatched and are in the books. And I got 4 snakes and from 2 clutches, and that's the start to 2024 breeding season.
Awesome, huge congrats! I know monarchs still aren't too common in the hobby, and to hatch your own, it's
Hmm.
got to be an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I was hoping to maybe beat the odds a little bit and get like two or all three of them. And I kind of wanted a Mojave monarch, but I don't think that that's what that is. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the 3 eggs didn't wind up like the 3 eggs from the other clutch that went bad. So they all look super healthy and they're going to do really good. And it is a good feeling to reach some goals that you set out. And I have um, another pairing with that male who obviously I've since sold and brought to the show and handed off to someone. That is to a GHI and G pastel. So there won't be any actual monarchs from it, but there'll be some cool snakes that are het. And then my big monarch girl that's unproven and didn't lay last year after I acquired her. She's showing all the signs of being gravid. So we'll see. Hopefully, I'll get some more monarchs by the end of the year because she was paired to that guy and then also to a pastel sunset. So anything that's not monarch, then I'll know that who the dad was. And if they are monarch, I'll know who the dad is also. I won't need like Maury Povich or like RGI or anything like that. I'll just know from looking at it.
How many total clutches did you have, and are you anticipating any more for this season?
There's two more in the incubator, so I've had four so far. Um, what is the other one? There's another one in there. Oh, I can't remember almost. I don't know what it is. I'll have to think about it for a second. But yeah, I'm anticipating a couple more, two or three more. Mainly, I had like this banana, pastel banana, 66% het monarch that I had paired that guy to a lot last year, and she had ovulated and got really fat, and she was my like pretty much my best eating snake. And I don't know if she reabsorbed or what. I just keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and I feel like she reabsorbed, but that's potentially some more visual monarchs as well if she proves out. And then I don't remember what the other clutch was from. Um, I don't know, I'm just blanking right now. I'll remember in a second.
Same.
But yeah, like I could get as many as like two or three more clutches, and that'll probably conclude my season. The Monarch probably won't lay for a little bit. Um, yeah, I had a hypo that I thought that I'd bred a black pastel um hypo to black pastel monarch hypo. He was really cool looking, and I sold him on the morph market auction. And the hypo had come from Brian Barczyk, who since passed
Mhm.
away. And then he had sold it as a hatchling in 2017 to a guy in like the Palmdale, Acton type area,
Mhm.
who was a really respected breeder. And then he passed away. And I had already been in discussion with him for that snake. And then I was able to still go get it from the family, try to be kind of comforting and give them a little bit of guidance, and ended up with the snake anyways. And I was hoping that she's unproven. She is NIDO tested, but she doesn't seem to be pumping out eggs. So some snakes, it takes a long time. Some ball pythons you could try and try and try from when they're like 2.5 or 3 years old, and then you don't get a clutch of eggs from them till they're like 9 or 10 or 11 years old.
Yep.
People will give you those stories. So yeah, I thought maybe I'd get eggs from her. I'm going to Anna at Paper Street. Is it
Mhm.
Paper Street Pythons?
Yeah.
She's down by you. I'm going to drop off a highway female, a proven highway female from Steve's Morphs. Um, and she has a pastel super gravel um male that's just stunningly beautiful that she bought almost 2 years ago, I think, or at least a year ago. And he's just really good looking, and that will make a really cool pairing with a allelic combo. So like
Mhm.
half of the babies will look like the mom and be carry yellow belly, and then one copy of the dad's gravel, and then be highways just like the mom. And then for sure the other ones will all be super gravels like the dad. So it's kind of a neat dynamic there, and then we'll just split the clutch. Hopefully, she laid 7 eggs in July last year for Steve, but hopefully we'll get 6 to 8 eggs and just split them in the middle and both get some really pretty snakes. And I didn't have to buy a male, so there's that one. Maybe I'll get a clutch from later. And oh, I know the other one. Wow, why did I blank on that so much? Like, was the pastel ultramel that I bred the pastel sunset too. So those eggs, I looked in there today, and they're looking really plump too. So yeah, that would be pretty
That's a
cool.
nice clutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a surprise clutch from a pinstripe clown female, and
Mm-hmm.
I bred her initially to leopard spot nose VPI xanthic 66% het clown, and he was
Mm-hmm.
a young male, small male, and I was hoping that he would at least try, but I saw no activity there, and I backed them up with what was it? Oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. Oh, a hurricane clown, and the the hurricane clown, he was young also. I just picked him up from Gray's Reptiles in January, the Pomona show. Had a little bit of size on him, and he ate well. So I put him in with her, and I didn't see much activity. He did the like sleep on top of her, and I couldn't quite see the tails. And I put down in my notes that cuddling possible lock, and I saw the same type of activity. I tried him twice, and I just wrote it off as, oh, it's not going to happen for her this year. And I must have missed the ovulation. I made note of when she shed, and just checked up her on every day, and she was showing all the signs. She made the nest. She started ridge backing, and I was like, man, this girl's going to drop some eggs for me. And she did drop eggs. She dropped 6 eggs. One was not fertilized at all. It was just a yellow egg, even though it was not a slug. The other one had
Mm-hmm.
some really weak veins. I don't think it's going to make it, but 4 of them look pretty good. So I could potentially be hatching my first clowns, and I think
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane Pinstripe clowns would be pretty cool. And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe even the other one, the leopard spot nose, might have got the job done, and that'd be really cool to see him prove out some pinstripe Batmans. I think that'd be pretty cool. And
Yeah.
at BPI, so that was really exciting clutch for me, and that was my 10th clutch. And
Nice.
I think I just had a shed from my pastel double het puzzle VPI Xanthic, and I bred my Mojave Het Monsoon to her. So just throwing some stuff out there and maybe get lucky and get a triple het puzzle VPI Xanthic Monsoon. That would be really cool. But
Long shot odds, but that's sometimes with genetic testing nowadays, if they come out with a monsoon test that you could skip many years in frustration and maybe have it work out for you. And speaking of monsoons, like up in Big Bear in the mountains, it's like monsoon time, and I don't remember it so much from going up there and commuting and working. Like it just like it comes out of nowhere. Like it's been pretty warm up there lately, and then just all of a sudden, thunder just crackling, just like I don't know, like God's playing with like pans and like foil up there. It's like what? Like it's been pretty awesome. And then just a heavy, heavy rain will fall, and then everything's dry. It smells great, and then it'll just go away. That's been going on lately up there. And there was some raining up there today, a little bit of monsoon action. And then here in the high desert, lower elevation, there's some of that too. A lot of thunder, and it's been one of those kind of days. So yeah.
yeah, we had a weather warning yesterday of flash
Hmm.
flooding, thunder, and
Hmm.
I didn't experience here, but my co-teacher said that he was walking his dog at the bay, and
Hmm.
big old thunder, and then rain started pouring. So yeah, monsoon season down here in Southern California. Speaking of
Hmm.
monsoons, the morph monsoon, some people have posted some really incredible combos, and it looks like there's more to monsoon than just a total dominant monsoon. I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures on Instagram, but there's some really interesting monsoons being hatched this season.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into that. I haven't been on Instagram as much since a little bit after Pomona. I've seen a couple. My buddy hatched more monsoons in Fresno, California. He hatched a Coral Glow Mystic monsoon, and I saw a post today where he said he was holding it back. He's hatched banana monsoons before, even before Dave Green. And yeah, I haven't really seen much else. Somebody posted one last week. a monsoon, and it was crazy looking. Now that I think about it,
That's when I
I
was
don't.
talking.
Yeah, I don't remember what the pairing was. Was it GHI?
Yeah,
It was radical looking. I was like, whoa, maybe that's the direction to take it. But yeah, I'm really hopeful that you I mean we both took some chances on Monsoon. You bought that one 50% girl, and I bought a couple 66% het girls, but mine I'm kind of slow growing and they're real pretty. But it'll just happen when it happens. It won't be this year. Maybe next year. But yeah. Yeah, there have been a couple unique ones.
yeah. I remember when Justin came out with his list, and Monsoon was his number one
Mm,
recessive, and that just flabbergasted me because it was like Monsoon, isn't that kind of like a you can just change the color, but it looks like with some of the stuff coming out, you could actually change the
mhm,
pattern on that. I'm still waiting on just a regular Monsoon Pied to see what that one is like. I mean, the double het Monsoon Pieds I have, they're great eaters, and I
mhm.
I just need a male for that project. And if it's a something that doesn't look that great, I don't think I'll invest in that male and just continue on with the Monsoon part of that.
Well,
But
I've been hoping to possibly get you one. I thought the monsoon test would be out by now. I just checked on all the snakes, and the 66% het Mojave, 66% het monsoon Mojave that I have, um, that everybody sees the markings on. He had two, maybe even three monsoon siblings. One was a bell. Um, he just looks great. He totally looks like he's gonna prove out. I'm very confident about it. And he's been in with this pied female, just a regular pied female, on and off since like it feels like I don't know, like last August or September. I no, maybe it was like September, right in that time frame. Like, and I thought I'd have eggs by now. She's a great eater, and now she's slowed down a bit, and she's really fat, and it totally seemed like she ovulated and everything, and they're still hanging out and locking up, and they're in there together right now for the last week. I left them in together since last Friday, and they're just all cuddled up and no sign really. I don't feel like she's gonna lay anytime soon, but I do expect to get eggs from her later this summer. And we'll be able to tell even if there is no monsoon test, like just from the fractals, just from the offspring, I believe. And then I'll be able to hand you over whatever one looks like. It'll be the most likely to prove male, the wildest looking one, and kind of keep you from having to do that pairing again.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, I think I'm gonna get two clutches from my het Monsoon.
Hmm.
The female, she was a hurricane. She dropped her eggs, and I think what was it, 7 or 8 eggs I got out of her. So there's a really
Hmm.
good shot. I think the hurricane het Monsoon will look pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that clutch. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Hey, anything else about Anaheim you want to touch on before we close out here?
Hmm. I don't know. Like some people, I guess, were disappointed in the show. Sales from vendors, or I don't know. I thought there was a lot of diversity. There was a
Hmm.
lot of cool different stuff from different insects and tarantulas, and one of my favorite chameleon breeders that I like to hang out with over there. He wasn't there either. He had some family thing come up, and but there were some cool creatures there. Josh over at Scales, Wings, and Feathers, is it? He or something like that. He had emerald swifts. He had like these little
Yeah,
feisty little baby swifts, and I just thought that was like one of the coolest things there, and they were pretty fun. Um, and I had fun. I had a good time and saw some different stuff, and was just kind of taking it easy and and walking around and chatting with people. It was kind of a mellower show.
Did you
Um,
did you take your girlfriend or there's
yeah, I, I
something?
took I took I took my friend with me, and she had a good time and was like interested in the hobby. Is not gonna get into keeping critters, but had a good time and learned some stuff. You know, like if you don't have a lot of experience with reptiles, and then you're around them and people are talking about them and you're seeing unusual stuff, like it's fascinating. That's why people go to a zoo. You know, like yeah, there was a lot for me to explain to her and to other people that I rub elbows with there, and it was fun mingling and chatting reptiles. I do like I wasn't disappointed in the show. Anytime I go to a show or a pet store or something, I'm gonna have a good time. But it definitely was a little mellower, and I did miss some faces. And when's the next one? Well, we got Las Vegas coming up in the fall. And then there's Pomona in January. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be like a Costa Mesa show or something.
I've been wanting to go to one of those, so
Yeah, I didn't go last time. So yeah, well, sometimes Bakersfield has a little tiny show. Um, yeah, it was pretty good, and it was easier getting a hotel and just walking there. And I had a good time. I had a good time. So yeah, I didn't go to the auction this time either. But usually I like to check that out, have some free food, and see what's going on with the hobby, and maybe do like the silent auction and stuff like that. People been getting some good deals lately at the silent auctions.
mhm.
But I just had fun being down there, and after the show went to this really cool visual experience, like Costa Mesa, like the college there was like the OC campus, like they have a planetarium. So you park on the other side because right now they got the fair going on, and they're using most of the parking lots for the county fair parking. And on the opposite side of the college, off of like Adams Road, like there's a parking lot back there. And then you just walk for a little ways, and then there's a planetarium with a big dome on it. And they have like a dome like screen. So it's not like a movie theater, it's like all rectangle, but it's
Mhm.
like you got to kind of like look up a little bit and like maybe tweak your neck a little bit from like they should have cozy chairs that you just like totally lean back and get ultra comfortable. But it was called Mesmerica, and it's set to like sound effects and music from this like guy who's pretty good with music, and a little bit of like positive like kind of spiritual narration at multiple points in it, but you just like zone out to all the artistry of all this like computer artist like graphics and like movement. It's like there's like it's like a kaleidoscope kind of a thing, and just like it's really amazing. So if you ever get a chance to head on down to the planetarium, it was like I don't know, like $34 or something like that, and maybe like about an hour long, close to it. And it's just like it's just really awesome. It's a really cool experience. It's very, very, very relaxing. So to take my friend after the show, which is a little overstimulating, a lot of walking, a lot of talking, a lot going on, and then just go chill out and see something pretty cool, um, was fun for both of us and everybody else in the room too. So I don't know if you've been to one of those kinds of things. I saw like a Pink Floyd laser show when I was like much younger. Um, but the next one is tomorrow in San Diego, right near you. And there's another version of it. It's like not that same show, but it's the same guy and music and probably some of the same artists. and I forget what that one's called and where it's at. I have like the link, but it's in San Diego, probably not that far of a drive from you.
Yeah,
So you
we do
might want
have
to.
one of those dome theaters, and it might be there. But
Yeah, I think it's got to be like in a dome. So yeah, if you look it up, um, James, is it James Woods? But if you look up Mesmerica, then
okay.
you'll see it. Um, and it's just awesome. I can't wait to go and watch it again. Totally better than like just going and seeing whatever Hollywood movies out
Mhm.
right now. And I had a really good time. The reviews are really good on it, and took a shot doing something different while I was in that side of the county, and so it was a good time. Yeah.
My last thoughts on the show is that I
Hmm.
did see a lot of like families there, and a lot of people who weren't normally like looking for a specific animal, just going there to observe things. And a lot of
Hmm.
kids were shouting axolotl, axolotl, axolotl at all the
Hmm.
little newts that were there. And there was also one couple that had bought a ball python, and they're just like, they took it out of the deli cup and they're just marveling over it. And I caught a view of the morph of it, and it was just a $25 male normal. So I
Hmm.
thought that was really cool seeing how excited they were about it. And
Yeah.
I did take the girlfriend, and she
Hmm.
was anybody who would offer to let her hold something, she wanted to hold it. And she didn't want to hold the Madagascar hissing roach, but I asked her to do it for video purposes, and
Hmm.
she was kind enough to do that. But she had an amazing time there, and she said she was really impressed with the couples who were doing the booths,
Hmm.
and she's all, I want to do a booth with you someday. So that was really cool to experience that with her.
Yeah. Yeah. And the first time that I ever held a ball python was I just picked one up at the show because back in the day, now there's a lot of byproduct. There's tons of people are interested in all these other complicated morph combos, and but back in the day it was mostly like captive hatched, just normals or specials from Africa. They're shipped out here, and you could get a ball python in a deli cup, like a baby or juvenile at a show for like, I think I bought one once for $5, but I bought one for the first time. Just I think I was just getting it for somebody else. They're like, "Oh, get me a ball python." So I went and picked one up, and I think it was $10, and it was really healthy. It was a really healthy, well-started baby. And I remember sitting down in my living room on the couch, a comfortable leather couch, and I was just sitting there and I was holding it, and it just was so like exotic, and because they're slower moving than colubrids, and I had some experience with boas, and I've held a lot of different stuff even back then at that time. But just it was just like you're saying, it was just opening a deli cup and looking at a pretty normal, super classic ball python, and just how chill it was. And it just like it was was really mesmerizing. And now with many more years of experience under my belt, I still enjoy just hatching and anything really. But yeah, with this time of like snakes that are worth thousands and thousands of dollars, like it is cool that just your average ball python is still going to impress some family out there, and that they're going to take great care of their pet. And yeah, that's what the hobby's all about.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Hey,
well, we made a show work, huh, Mark? With no graphics,
threw something out.
and on the fly. But yeah. So next week, well, you want to do something? Do you have any guest thoughts or?
I don't have any guest thoughts, but
Hmm.
yeah, we'll figure. So I think one thing that's been coming across and is getting
Hmm.
heated now is politics. I want to talk politics and snakes. If you think
Hmm.
that would be something to talk about, because we got a big
Hmm.
election coming up, and
Hmm.
we don't have to say who we're voting for or anything, but I know across my Instagram feed, it's pretty heated. So that's
Mm-hmm.
something I'd like
So
to talk.
you want to bring the really subtle like topic of politics into our cool, mellow, good vibe show. When we could do that, I'll support you, but I'm really not a political person. Like I
Yeah,
have a lot
totally.
of beliefs and ethics. I thought that that was pretty interesting, and I was curious, what the heck is going on? Is this a conspiracy? Is this a setup? When you know we finally had an ex-president and somebody who acts like they are the president and believes that they still are, and like shot at like an assassination attempt that hasn't, I don't think, happened since Reagan when I was like a little tiny kid. That was
And
pretty
says no.
wild. No. Jen Jen says no, and I think Jen is really smart, and I support also her views on things. Yeah, politics is something I tend to stay out of, but that was noteworthy for sure, where there was an assassination attempt on someone running in this upcoming election, and that our president, who's like a walking zombie pretty much with two, brain surgeries under his belt, kind of feel like he's gonna like just drop dead anytime. He seems tired. It doesn't matter who you are and how healthy you are. If you become president of the United States, or imagine any other country, it wears you out. The pressure and the stress and the anxiety and having to answer for different things and the spotlight on you. Yeah, no, I don't really care that much about politics. I stay out of it. If you want to, I'll email Donald Trump and try to get a comment from him. I'll see if I can get in touch with his media team. And, maybe I have like a 6 degrees of separation connection of some sort, and I could get something from him. But he is pretty busy right now.
Well,
I don't know.
you
We'll
know
think
what?
of something.
Well, yeah, it's a little heat. Maybe a small segment on it. Small
All
segment.
right.
Uh,
Maybe all the past presidents and governors and senators in our country, and maybe a few other ones, that like ever had pets besides dogs, that maybe we could find. Maybe that exists somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that kind of angle would be more um, justified.
Hey, this is the reptile industry. There's always something around the corner, so I'm sure there's something that's going to
Mhm.
pop up by next week.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in to an unusual episode of the Fauna Topic. And I hope everybody else out there had a good time at the Anaheim show. There definitely were a lot of friendly and excited people out there enjoying it, and look forward to the next big convention. And appreciate everybody tuning in. And we will most likely see you next week.
Definitely.
All right. You guys have a good one.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
See ya.